And welcome to Illini Drive here on WPGU 1071. It is December 11th, 2017, here on a cold and dark Monday as students around campus are getting ready for finals. I'm Maury Benatar here with Will Gerard, Jake Hassan, Tommy Polson, and Jade Hilton. As usual, this will be our final Monday show before for about a month because we're going to be gone for winter break and there's going to be a bunch of basketball games, but we'll get through as much as we can for all you watching on UPTV. Here is what we're going to be talking about. We'll talk about Illini basketball, also a little bit about football commitments and other stuff, give you a little winter break preview. There's going to be a lot of basketball games and some other sports getting started over the break, as well as some final thoughts from some professional stories. And let me tell you, there's a lot of those from this past weekend. But let's get started with Illini basketball, losing to UNLV 89-82 in a very late game in Vegas. Went from like 11-10 to 130 Central. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was there, was at the MGM Grand. And Illinois lost by 7, but my God, how many fouls did they have? 36?
36.
Yeah,
like that.
36.
Yeah,
A lot.
Tied the program record, and UNLV had 50 shots and they had 48 free throws.
yeah, that's not a good way to win basketball games, I can tell you that much.
That's the difference. I mean, Illinois was fouling people fine. I mean, the refs made some questionable calls, but not as many as we've seen in previous games. But
I feel like they're just calling a lot of chippy little hacks.
I think you can blame the refs and the team for a 36.
There was a lot of just
Yeah.
like ticky-tack stuff. Like stuff that could have been avoided.
I think it could have been avoided, but a run-in Rebel team that had that many dominant players in the post, including Brandon McCoy, who's likely going to be a first-round pick in the draft.
Brandon McCoy's a dog.
He is a beast.
I think this game, the real thing that we saw is Illinois does not have a big man that can dominate NBA caliber players. And Brandon McCoy will probably be the best big Illinois faces this season, unless there's someone of the same caliber in the Big Ten, which I can't think of. But the best player they're probably going to face this year is Miles Bridges out of Michigan State.
Haas can match up with him.
Okay.
Haas will be a tough matchup.
Yeah, but Brandon McCoy, that guy was. I thought he was going to have a double-double at the end of the first half. He did get. He didn't get his double-double. He had over 20 points. He had like 9. Kipper Nichols was out rebounding McCoy for most of the game. He played really well. But the big thing that I saw, or that we've been seeing for most of these games, at least over the past 2 weeks, the bench mob is getting the job done and the starters aren't, right?
The freshmen have really been playing well as of late, and I think these last couple games, especially for like a guy like Trent, he's really come out and shown that he can be an elite scorer when he's in that zone, and once he's feeling comfortable out there, he's going to be a problem for other teams to match up with.
Yeah, I think he's still finding his stride a little bit, but he's played really well the last week. Like, I think those first couple games kind of saw him like even the coaching staff trying to find his fit with the rest of the team, and now he's kind of getting comfortable, and you're seeing the results of it.
Yeah, Trent Frazier, 16 points in the game against UNLV. He's been playing well over the last 3 games. Tizon Lucas started off terrible. He had like a minus 17 plus minus at the end of the first half, but he had a decent amount of productive minutes towards the second half there. For me, Trent Frazier was the only reason Illinois was ever in the game in the first half. It's the only reason it was close. Yeah. Mark Smith didn't have a good start. He heated up in the second half, got his 17 points, which was the most for the team in that game.
Seeing Mark hit those threes is big because those were deep threes too. Like, this wasn't just toss it up and get lucky. He was feeling it that night. Mm-hmm. And I mean, once a guy like him, or even Trent is kind of a similar in that aspect, once Mark Smith starts hitting 3-pointers on the regular, he's going to be impossible to guard because once he gets to the paint, he's automatic.
But he's got to drive more.
Right.
I think his first shot selection, the first thing he should be thinking of when he's on offense is, let me try and get the ball in the perimeter, try and make a move, maybe get a guy open if they come on a double team, or just drive to the basket because that's his best scoring option.
Yeah. McCoy did get the double-double, by the way, 22 and 10.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, like, I think it's just he needed to see a few shots go in now. I think he's going to get that confidence back now.
But I think now we're running into a little bit of a thin wire when it comes to, we know Brad Underwood's not a guy who has his starters play 25, 30 minutes most nights. He constantly rotates players. But I think now picking a good starting 5 is really crucial. It didn't seem that way in the beginning of the season. It's like, oh, the starters will get a couple points here and there, but now I think it's about putting your best 5 players out on the floor to get a fast start. Illinois had a really bad start against UNLV, really bad start against Austin Peay. They haven't had a good start in the last 3 games.
Yeah.
And Underwood's had to call timeouts within 5 minutes. And Mark Allstork was a non-factor against UNLV. He had 0 points. He fouled out. He was the first player to foul out. Tizon has not been scoring as much as he's been scoring as much as we've expected him, but I think he's been a bit of a disappointment. Michael Finke, too, has also had a rough patch. So who are the best 5 players Illinois should put in the starting lineup? Starting at the point guard, for me, Trent Frazier has to start.
Yeah, I think it starts with Trent.
I think Trent's in there. I think I'd go Trent, Mark, Smith, I should say. Trent, Mark Smith. Do you almost put like an AJ in there?
Jordan is my first guy off the bench. I don't think I'd put him in the starting lineup.
What's your starting 5?
I'd put Frazier and Smith at the guards. I would still keep Allstork in.
Yeah.
Sure, he has his... Excuse me there. Allstork's, is either amazing or doesn't do anything. It's a hit or a miss with him, but I think the experience he adds to the starting lineup can help. So I would keep Allstork in, especially since he's, for me, the most real small forward-like type of player.
He's a good defender, too.
And he's a solid defender. With Laron Black potentially being out for a long time, I would consider putting Kipper Nichols in at the 4 and move Finke to center.
I wouldn't be against that.
And if you don't want to start Allstork, then maybe put Kipper at the 3. You'd have Finke at the 4, and then at center,
Ebo.
It would be a huge. It would be Ebo starting, but I guarantee you Underwood would just have a huge swap of centers.
He looked all right against UNLV. He had that one alley-oop that was nice.
Yeah,
he's starting to look more comfortable.
And the little time he's getting, he looks good. Like he shows flashes every time he's on the floor.
Yeah, I think needs to learn how to control the game a little bit.
Yeah,
that's for me the big thing.
I think it's good the way that Underwood's been using him because, even though he has been pretty productive, I think that you leave a guy like that out there too long, he might start forcing it a little bit. But I think he's done a good job of kind of getting those slow adjustments, playing tight on defense, getting the rebounds.
He's letting him get his feet wet first before he just throws him in the water, which is good.
I'd expect him to be a guy that plays between 12 and 15 minutes in the Big Ten tournament because I think he's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And he might get a chance to start. Now with Laron Black potentially being out.
Is there any updates on
Laron? He's getting an MRI on his left elbow.
If we're going to assume Laron's out, I think I'd have to go with – I'd actually go with Trent and DeMonte at guard and then move Mark Smith to the 3 and then Kipper and Finke.
I like that, too.
Yeah. I think DeMonte's played really well.
The three freshmen together have played pretty well.
I think DeMonte's played really well since he's got put in the starting lineup. I think he hasn't shown any reason to not continue starting him.
Yeah, the consensus every game, he's a right place, right time. He doesn't really finish at the rim as much as you'd expect him to. His shooting is still a little bit shaky.
He brings it, though.
Yeah, but he brings it. He's a right place, right time. But I guess let's shift the discussion to what if Laron Black is out for a considerable amount of time? Laron Black is probably the best player on the team.
He's not probably. He
is. He's the face. He's been a little bit off in the last couple of games, but he's the face of the team, and he's probably the best forward center type player that Illinois has. If he's out for a considerable amount of time, does Illinois' tournament chances just blow up in their faces? Do they have no shot at all? Because now you're depending on Finke, Ebo, even Vasil potentially playing more, Matitz. And, there's not many other people that can play that 4 or 5 slot. Finke would have to play center for a good portion.
You'd have to see Kipper at a lot of 4 then.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say their chance is gone because they've got a relatively easy stretch until New Year's. With Long Beach, New Mexico State.
Longwood.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Longwood. My bad. Longwood, New Mexico State. Missouri obviously would be tough in terms of matchup with the bigs, but I think Kipper could handle a guy like Tillman and all them. But, you look at then Grand Canyon. Minnesota on January 3rd is the first really tough big man matchup. That's 3 weeks. I think that if they can hang on, win 3 or 4 of those games, which I think is expected at least.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. You'd like to see a win against Mizzou, but I don't necessarily think it's
not
necessary.
A must.
Yeah.
I think it's a must now.
Yeah?
Illinois' got to win at least one game against a competitive team before they just roll through the Big Ten because the 4 games they've lost have been against the 4 best teams they've played. Wake Forest, Northwestern, Maryland, and UNLV. All 7 of their wins are against opponents that are somewhat lackluster, and their last win was a pretty ugly one against Austin Peay.
I think you can argue that all 4 of those are quality losses, though, in whatever sense that a quality loss is a quality loss. At Wake Forest versus a team that was in the tournament last year, obviously they're missing John Collins, but a lot of questionable calls that game. I think that, for the most part, that's not a bad loss. At Northwestern, who came into the season ranked, they lost by 4, could have won both those games. Versus Maryland, after being down by 20+, coming back all the way to go into overtime. Should have won that one too, probably. But obviously, I mean, a 92-91 loss versus a good Maryland team isn't terrible. And then at UNLV, although it technically was neutral site, I mean, it was in Vegas, you know. So, I mean, again,
that game was close. The UNLV game was closer than the box score shows, too, I think.
And you'd like to see them win at least 2 out of those 4 games, but there really aren't bad losses, I don't think.
No, yeah, I think the losses are pretty quality, but how many can Illinois afford to have? You can't just procrastinate it and say, oh, we have 11 losses and about 9 of those are quality. We should still make the tournament. You got to win games. That's what you have to do to make the tournament.
We were just seeing the chemistry kind of start to come together, too, and now LaRon was a huge piece of that. So depending on how long he's out, like that throws a wrench into that too.
I think if LaRon Black is out for a considerable amount of time, and when I say considerable amount of time, maybe give me a month and a half, 2 months.
If it's that long.
If it's that long,
so you're thinking like 6 weeks.
If he's out for 6 weeks, I don't think Illinois can make the tournament. If he's only out maybe for the Longwood and New Mexico State and Missouri games, if he can come back for Big Ten play, then I think Illinois is in decent position.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's kind of tough to really project where he'll be out / how long he'll be out, considering we don't really know exactly what's wrong with him yet. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't know. Considering that he was in a sling, but he was still out there moving around. He didn't seem to be in any truly excruciating pain. I think that, I mean, I would hope that it's not more than like a month, and if it's only a month, I think it's okay.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Don't know what the results of the MRI will be as you're listening to Illini Drive here on WPGU 107.1, brought to you by the Illinois Fighting Illini. For tickets and info, make sure to go to fightingillini.com or call 1-866-ILLINI-1. So before we go to break, probably about 5-7 minutes till that, let's talk a little bit about the winter break schedule for Fighting Illini basketball, since this is the last Monday show for about a month. So this week you got Longwood and New Mexico State. Then bragging rights on Saturday the 23rd, which is the first official day after finals. Then it gets into the nitty-gritty. Grand Canyon Antelopes on the 30th, and then the Big Ten schedule starts. So over the break, Illinois will be at Minnesota on the 3rd. Then they will be at Michigan on Saturday the 6th. And then the final week of break, they will host Iowa on Thursday the 11th. And that will be pretty much it for the break, it seems. So how many wins should Illinois get when they start Big Ten play? You also got the Martin Luther King Day game at Nebraska, but technically no classes there. So Illinois is only playing 2 home games over the break. So in terms of Orange Crush not being there, that's kind of a blessing in disguise. They only have to play 2 home games over the break. But
I think they only lose to Minnesota and Michigan. I'm sorry, Minnesota and Michigan.
I think they lose to Iowa too.
Iowa does not look good right now. Iowa doesn't scare me. I think that.
Well, that's what we said about Northwestern.
But the Northwestern game should have been a win.
We should have won that game.
I think there's more of a Maryland.
Okay, Iowa's also 4-6. That's a different. Doesn't look good compared to.
Iowa's not amazing. No, I still think Iowa will win, especially since it is in Champaign. I think the home court.
That's what I'm saying. Iowa's only wins have been against UAB, Grambling State. Don't even know what this school is, and Chicago State.
Chicago State, yeah.
Chicago State stinks. Like, that's a bad team. I'm saying Iowa's gonna lose.
Yeah, Iowa's kind of having a very similar season to us. Except,
no, they're not. They're 5-6.
Well, no, in terms of the fact that they're beating low quality teams and they're losing to.
But they haven't even been close to good teams.
No,
I mean they lost by 13 to Indiana.
They lost by 40 or 34 to Virginia Tech.
Whoa.
They lost to South Dakota State. They've lost to University of Louisiana Lafayette.
Mm-hmm. Not good.
Right. Come on, man.
I know, but it's Iowa. It's Iowa.
So what? We're Illinois.
I know. I think the first
at home.
I think the first.
They don't have Peter Jock anymore.
I know, but
they don't have Peter Jock.
I think the first Big Ten win will be at Nebraska because they're the bottom of the. They're the worst team in the Big Ten. Nebraska. I don't think we'll beat Minnesota. We're not going to beat Michigan.
I don't have us beating Minnesota or Michigan. Those are the 2 I think we're losing. I think the rest of those we win. Missouri just. It's a team where it's like Missouri's got plenty of talent. I just don't think they're there yet. And I mean, obviously, we're in a similar boat as that, but I don't know. Missouri, I don't know. I guess I'm just looking at their roster. Tillman's going to be a really tough matchup for us. If we can shut him down, I think that
if we count on more than one person to work on Tillman, I think that's how you win that matchup.
The only thing is who's going to be doing that. I think we're going to see a lot of Ebo that game because even though he's not necessarily there yet,
Just
all the way on
size-wise.
offense.
Yeah.
And I mean, he could like have earned more minutes by then too.
Yeah,
I mean, because
that's
we're
still a few
talking
games down
2
the
weeks.
road.
It's 2 games, yeah. 2 games in which Ebo could see considerable amount of minutes. Against Longwood, he should, because Illinois should be up by a decent amount by the end of the first half. New Mexico State could be a little bit closer. They are a consistent tournament team, so that one could be a little bit up in the air, but we'd expect Illinois to win that game too. It's a shame, though, that the bragging rights game, which had so much hype surrounding it once Tillman committed to Missouri, I think it's losing a little bit of its magic with no Porter Jr. I think if this game the hype train needs to come back alive, Illinois needs to come away, dominate against Longwood, dominate against New Mexico State, and then they're coming in looking for that 10th win in St. Louis, and then I think the game is going to generate a lot more buzz than what it has been during football season and during the summer.
I'm not worried about the hype for it. I think
regardless, both schools are going to be hyped for it.
Come that week, you're going to get a lot of Tillman hate going. You're going to get those juices flowing. You're going to just look at Jeremiah Tillman and his. I'm going to be nice here. I'm going to say in his face,
respectable young man.
his eyes. Yeah, great young guy. But you're going to see him out there just in that black and yellow. I think you're just going to want to beat the crap out of him. I just think that's how it's going to be. I don't see it. I don't see. I'm going to get hyped for Missouri no matter what.
Yeah,
You know
I'm
what I
kind of
mean?
with Tommy on the revenge factor. Like
I
the
think
chip, the chip on the
yeah.
shoulder. I'm all in on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, although you'd love to see Porter Jr. and you'd love to see these teams not
Full
with
strength.
4 losses and 2 losses. I mean, no matter what. I mean, even last year when neither team was necessarily expected to go anywhere. I mean, they were both. It was still a fun game. It's still always interesting to see.
I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm not going to be there, but I'm excited to watch it. I'll still be stuck here, and I'm assuming there'll probably be like some kind of ridiculous snowstorm because there always is here in December. I still remember last year, at the end of the winter semester, I was stuck here for a weekend because it was -10, and my parents were like, "We cannot drive you. There's way too much snow." So I was stuck here I was in my apartment for a day and a half. Yeah,
What a glorious place.
and then I had to like hammer ice on my sidewalk, and then I got a piece of ice in my eye because it was that slippery.
Is there a reason that there's a full week off in between New Mexico State and Missouri?
Finals.
train.
It's called finals.
Hype train.
Right, but I mean,
Illinois doesn't have any athletic events during finals
Really?
week. Yep, that's how it works.
interesting. I was unaware of that.
Yeah, I think that's how it works in pretty much every school. You don't have any athletic events during the week of finals.
What about Mizzou?
So yeah, nice week in between the New Mexico State and Missouri games. But we are
Missouri
going.
plays us at Austin on the 19th.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. We're going to take our first break here. When we come back, we will talk a little bit football, a little bit about the volleyball's end of the season, and taking a look at what other Illini action is going to be over the winter break when we return to Illini Drive right here on WPGU 107.1.
You're watching Illini Drive on Urbana Public Television. Tune in Monday nights at 6 p.m. to listen live on WPGU 107.1.
Welcome back to Illini Drive here on WPGU 107.1. Ori with Will, Jake, Tommy, and Jade here on this Monday evening and a very cold, wintry day. That's basically what I said to start the show. I don't know why I said it again. But anyways, here's what happened in Illini athletics this past weekend. Volleyball season ended in the Sweet 16 against Michigan State, losing in 4 sets. The 4th set ended 29-27 to the Spartans. So the Illini, for the 5th time, since 2011, they made the Sweet 16 a couple of times. This is the 4th or 5th consecutive time they've lost the Sweet 16. They hadn't won a regional semi since 2011. But Chris Thomas and his players with a very successful first season, only losing 11 games and winning 23. Men's and women's gym started their season unofficially with their preseason exhibition at Huff Hall, the Orange and Blue exhibition. The Orange team won on a tiebreaker. Men's and women's gymnastics will get started later in January. And then women's basketball won on Thursday against Indiana State and then won on Sunday against Detroit Mercy. Alex Whittinger yesterday had a tremendous stat line of 19 points, 12 boards, and 4 blocks. And Illinois women's basketball is now 8-4, 1 win away from equaling their season total last year. That is something to look positively on, right? That's pretty awesome.
It's huge. Fahey effect.
Quick turnarounds are always just like
Is that how you say it?
surprising. So it's nice to see.
Very quick.
Apologies to Coach Fahey. I have a friend whose name is spelled the same way, and it's Fahey. So deep apologies.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
The pronunciation game is a fun game that we all have a difficult time of mastering. But before we take you through the Illini action that's going to be happening over the winter break, some football talk. Commit today, a 3-star wide receiver from Florida named Edwin Carter has decided that he will be committing to Illinois. He said, I don't think anything can get much better than Illinois. And also, Bennett Williams was named to the ESPN All-America freshman team. So some nice positive news for football. I find it interesting that there's another wide receiver from Florida coming to the Illini, and it's a deep threat from what I've heard. There's not much information about this guy, but does Illinois really need another deep threat wide receiver?
Why not? Can never have too many.
Take all the talent you can get.
Yeah, but you need someone to throw the ball to him, right?
MJ Rivers, baby.
Yeah,
he's coming.
It's all about MJ Rivers, yeah.
I'm so excited for MJ Rivers.
I mean, I don't think he starts, but
he does.
When does he start to start?
Game 1.
When does he start to start?
Game 1.
Exactly.
When does one start to start?
MJ Rivers, Cam Newton 2.0. This dude is legit. I'm saying it. I'm all in on him. I think he's going to be really cool. And, I mean, even if not, like, Cam Thomas may start game 1. He might even start the whole year. I don't know. But I think down the road, MJ Rivers is like a legit, do I want to say it? Heisman contender. I'll say it.
Oh, not for next year, though.
No, not next year.
He did say down the road.
Okay.
Yeah, down the road.
That would be nice. That'd be cool.
I think he looks really good. I've watched a lot of highlights on him recently with like his season being over and everything. I saw him tweeting out this morning that he's ready for Illinois. I'm excited. I'm getting hyped already for him. And I mean, the fact that we can be talking like this excited about Illinois football in December, even after like what, a 2-10, 2-9 season?
2-10.
Yeah, I mean that's huge. It's good going forward. I think that there's a lot of positives coming forward this way for the program.
I think so too. In fact, Bennett Williams got on the ESPN All-America team, pretty much saying he was.
Dorsey should have been on it too.
Yeah.
Blake Hayes should have been on it.
Hayes should have been on it too.
That was the disrespect there. That was a travesty.
Yeah.
Who made it in those positions? I'm going to try and check.
I didn't see.
I'm going to check right
looked,
now.
but I don't remember.
But
the
you got
names.
Bennett Williams in the safety spot. So at tight end, you had Hunter Bryant of Washington, who did miss the final 4 games of the season, but he still ranked second on the team in receiving with 22 catches and 331 yards. Didn't Dorsey have like more yards than that?
Yes. That's what I'm saying, I think.
Sicker catches. Like,
Yeah.
He caught everything with one hand.
yeah, highlight reel catches.
A couple players who the Illini faced this year made it. You have Jonathan Taylor of Wisconsin. That's an obvious pick at running back. Wide receiver Justin Hall from Ball State. He had a pretty good season, 801 yards, 78 catches. Offensive lineman, no one that all-purpose. You have J.K. Dobbins. That makes a lot of sense. He's just an incredible freshman to have. Bennett Williams at safety. There it is. The only one of 2 safeties picked, along with Grant Delpit of LSU. And then at the punter position was Presley Harvin III of Georgia Tech.
He definitely got in just on the name.
That is pretty cool name.
I'm sticking by that.
He ranked 18th nationally and tops among freshmen with a 44.1 yards per punt average. He finished second in the ACC in punting, and 32% of his punts were down inside the 20. Fifth in the league in net punting and averaging nearly 40 yards per kick after returns. Blake Hayes can compete for that. Yeah, I thought Blake Hayes was the best.
What were the tight ends numbers? I found Dorsey stats.
The tight ends numbers were 331 yards, 22 catches.
Dorsey, 22 catches, 395 yards, 3 touchdowns.
And he played how many games?
Dorsey played 12, but he didn't like significantly play until probably the last 5.
This Bryant guy played 8.
Yeah.
So ESPN,
That's fair, I guess.
Gotta look at Illinois a little bit more than you did, I think, because there should have been, especially since Illinois was the team that played the most freshmen this year.
You gotta show more love for that.
Free Blake Hayes.
Also, Sam Miller, defensive end of Northwestern, made it. That's another person Illinois faced. Another Big Ten player, Josiah Scott, the corner from Michigan State, got in. So, some football awards that are being
awarded.
I just saw some breaking news. I guess a former Illini, Matt Lacoste, has been signed by the Broncos. Have signed tight end Matt Lacoste off the Giants practice squad. So that's some fun breaking news. That was from Ralph Vacciano.
Come on the show to discuss.
So you got another Illini potentially playing in the NFL in Lacoste. But let's talk a little bit about what's going to be happening with the Illini over the break. So this weekend, women's basketball will be hosting Austin Peay. So the female Austin Peay Governors are going to be coming to town after the men came last Wednesday and lost. The weekend after finals, it will be an all bragging rights weekend, just men's and women's basketball, both playing Missouri, women in Columbia on Friday, men in St. Louis on Saturday. Then women's basketball continues its season against Maryland and Northwestern to start Big Ten play pre-New Year's. Wrestling is back in action in Hoffman Estates, Illinois on the 29th and 30th at the 55th Ken Craft Midlands. It's a elite wrestling tournament. You have Rutgers and Iowa women's basketball games happening to start off the new year. Wrestling will be facing Nebraska in their first conference match at Huff Hall, then against Northwestern. And then the final week before break, swim and dive is back in action, facing Notre Dame and Iowa for 2 days. And gymnastics gets underway. Women's gymnastics will begin Saturday, January 13th against Rutgers in Piscataway. And men's gym will get underway the same day in Chicago at the Windy City Invitational. Plus, men's and women's track gets underway indoor at the Armory for the Illinois Open, also on the 13th. What sport are you guys most excited about there? Track, gymnastics, maybe a little bit more wrestling?
Wrestling,
yeah.
Isaiah, man. I mean,
It's all about Isaiah, yeah. Right? Finally,
yeah. You said that tournament coming up is an elite tournament. We have probably the most elite wrestler.
I'm sure it's an elite tournament. I just said elite to hype it up a little bit more. I don't know anything about Ken Craft
Joe Flacco, elite.
Joe Flacco's pretty freaking elite, man. I mean, he's got more Super Bowl rings than Colin Kaepernick.
Wow, interesting comparison.
I don't know. I just said a name. Honestly, we'll say he has more Super Bowls than I don't know, Rex Grossman. I can't think of anyone else.
Come on,
you can definitely do better than that.
I know.
Alex Smith.
I just want to point the fact out that Flacco had a successful
anyone on the
start
Browns.
Yeah, any human who played ever for the
Browns organization.
No, yeah. Okay. well,
Josh Gordon's back, baby.
Hey,
Josh,
Josh,
I'm good. Yeah,
I'm excited for Josh Gordon.
That's Will's first line on the show. Josh Gordon's back, and we'll hear a little bit more from Will about a fun developing story that's been happening over the past couple of hours. But what about gym and track? Track and field looks like they'll be pretty decent this year. No more Pedria Seymour for the women, but you got Kenziera and Wells who are pretty solid for the men. And then gymnastics, men and women, both going to be competing for a Big Ten championship. You're a big gym guy, right?
Big gym guy. See him when I'm in the Armory sometimes.
Yeah.
See him practicing.
In the Armory?
The maze of the Armory.
Oh, yeah, the Armory maze. Yeah, I forgot that there's
that
a
wonderful place. Wow. Yeah. What a build. Blah, 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 blah. What a building.
Oh, it's tremendous.
Wow.
What favorite
words are hard.
Favorite building on campus, easily, no question. I mean, Altgeld Bells, Armory's where it's at, man.
Big Armory guy.
Big Armory guy. I'm
Nice.
a big Armory guy. I like having
big architecture guy.
No, not big. I'm not George Costanza here. You know, I'm not big on architecture.
Ooh, good reference.
Yeah,
Rory.
that was
reference.
a good reference.
I'm not Art
Nice.
Art
that
Van
one.
Delay over here.
Nope. Okay.
Talking about Seinfeld references, I got
See
you.
you. I see you.
Vandalay Industries.
Yeah, exactly. Vandalay Industries. They sell latex. I guess we'll talk more.
What is happening?
I know. We'll talk more Seinfeld references while we're taking a break, as we're going to take a quick one here. We'll be back with Jade's score update and also our final thoughts, as there was so much going on over the past weekend, and we'll talk all about it when we return to Illini Drive right here on WPGU 107.1.
You're watching Illini Drive on Urbana Public Television. Tune in Monday nights at 6 p.m. to listen live on WPGU 107.1.
Welcome back to Illini Drive. Here is your score update. In basketball, the Chicago Bulls took down the New York Knicks 104-102 on the weekend. They face the Boston Celtics today at 7 p.m. And in hockey, the Chicago Blackhawks defeated the Arizona Coyotes 3-1 yesterday. They play the Florida Panthers tomorrow at 7:30 p.m.
Thank you, Jade. So some nice Chicago wins there. The Bulls actually won a game. The Blackhawks beat the worst team in the league. Some fun news.
Why you hate on Arizona?
Arizona's terrible.
They're kind of cool.
Corey had a really
I like the
fun
I like Coyotes.
Crawford had
yeah.
a great game though.
Yeah, he did play pretty well.
The Blackhawks are so lucky to have Corey Crawford.
Remember
Yeah,
when
that is
everyone
true.
wanted to get rid of him? Oh, nice.
Who wanted to get rid of him?
Remember like the playoffs like 4 years.
Anybody who
was it
wanted to get rid of
2013?
Corey Crawford ever?
It was like his glove side, his gloves. Everyone wanted him like.
Anybody who ever wanted to
exiled.
deal Crawford is unintelligent. I'll say
True,
that.
I agree with you. No,
That was a mature way of saying it.
yeah.
Anyway, some fun breaking news before we go to final thoughts.
Soft.
Northwestern men's basketball is playing right now with 4:21 left in the first half. They are leading the Chicago State Cougars 44-5.
Chicago State, who is one of Iowa's only wins.
Yeah, again 44-5 basketball game. Crazy. Also, I'm sure you guys will get excited about this. You know who will be playing Ivan Drago in Creed 2?
Oh, it's him. It's Dolph again, right?
Brock Lesnar.
Wait, what?
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was.
No, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Stadium's very into it.
I don't like that at all.
Lesnar's too.
Wait, why?
He looks like Ivan Drago a little bit.
Ivan Drago's huge and like just like lean.
He's like
Lesnar's like a little
he'll lean up. I think.
meatball, but
yeah,
that's a good. That's a good description. Lesnar's like he's wide.
It doesn't work. He's also he also isn't Russian or like foreign.
Of course not.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
All right. Well, we'll see.
I thought I saw Dolph too.
Dolph.
I'm pretty sure it.
Maybe he'll make a cameo as like his dad or whatever. I don't know.
Oh man, I'm not gonna watch it.
Anyways, let's go to final thoughts now. Let's start with Will. The Ball brothers are making a big trip to a random nation to play some basketball. Want to talk a little bit about that?
On Lithuania?
Yeah, going to Lithuania.
It's random. It's random.
It's kind of a weird move, honestly.
What else
usually
could
am
they have
behind
done?
everything that LeVar does, but
kind of eliminated China
I've
as an
seen a
option.
few tweets where they're saying that this is kind of a sketchy organization where like they're gonna make like
Little backroom
around
deal.
like $500 a month potentially, and there's only been one American player to play for this team ever, so probably not as cushy as a nice scholarship spot at UCLA, but.
I mean, what
I
else
guess
were they
that's
supposed
what
to do?
happens.
No, that's
Yeah.
what I saw. Like, imagine being able to being hyped to go to UCLA to be the star player, and then your dad pulls you out and sends you to Lithuania.
Yeah,
They're
they're
a tiny little village. Yeah, it's
very
a lot of fun.
The village is about
10,000, right?
About 10,000. Poly Pavilion can fit the whole village into their stadium. They're going to be playing for the team Vytautas, which won the Baltic League last year and currently sit in last place in the Lithuanian league.
So they're bringing him back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're about to get that talent.
We'll see. A couple of players have come through the Lithuanian league, like Jonas Valanciunas came through the Lithuanian league. You also had Mindaugas Kuzminskis, Kristaps.
Didn't he? Oh no,
He's
didn't come
Latvian,
through- yeah.
but I don't know if he played in the Latvian.
Fun fact, kind of different. Remember the tournament I talked about where I was dunked on before?
Yes.
Same tournament. We played a team called Lithuanica. They were all from Lithuania, and they were really good.
Yeah, Lithuania basketball.
was a fun fact,
Basketball is the national sport in Lithuania.
Yeah.
Way more than soccer.
Kind of on the
is.
come up.
Yeah, Lithuania always produces. Zadrunas Ilgauskas, Lithuanian
Okay, I didn't know
beast
that.
player.
He was awesome.
I loved Ilgauskas. Besides LeBron, probably my second favorite Cav of all time. So yeah, the Ball brothers are going.
Gibson. No love for Boobie Gibson.
No, I like Daniel. Yeah, Daniel Gibson's cool. I like Larry Hughes. Gotta love Larry Hughes. Eric Snow, the legend himself, big Eric Snow guy.
Who was the point guard you guys had for a while?
Eric Snow,
No, he was good.
CJ Miles.
No,
I don't even know.
Whatever.
Bless you, Jake.
Yeah,
We'll figure it out later.
okay. Let's go now to Jake's final thoughts since he's the one who sneezed. Baseball.
That's how we designate things.
Yeah,
now.
that's how we're
Sneeze.
designating.
Sneeze, you're out.
So, baseball
I'll get mine
sweeps.
ready.
2 big baseball sweepstakes have ended.
Nothing
I'm going to
else
talk
matters.
about the huge one, but you're going to talk about another pretty big one. Otani's going to LA for the Angels.
Yeah, kind of surprising. I thought the whole time he was going to Seattle.
Yeah, me too.
I imagine LA's pitch went something like this. Yeah, we have Mike Trout. He's the best player in baseball. I mean, come play with this guy who will show you how he hits.
The Angels have the 2 best players in the world. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
I mean, okay, you can't say
Okay.
that. You
All
can't say
right.
that yet
All right,
because
that's
we
way too
haven't
soon
seen
to say.
anything
Okay,
from
but
him yet in the name of
the best,
potentially.
I know, but the best player in the United States with the best player in Japan. How about that? Is that fair?
Best international player.
Yes.
I'll say that.
Potentially the 2.
International? I mean, that includes
Okay.
Cuba,
That's a good point. That's
and
a
the
good point.
Dominican Republic, and
Still,
every other
but
Venezuela.
he's the best player from Japan.
Yeah, and I mean, you haven't seen anything from him yet. He's not going to play the outfield.
Is
their
he
GM
better
already
than
said.
Darvish already? I don't
Everyone
think so.
Everyone says the thing with me is it's hard to say how good he is when we haven't seen him
Yeah,
throw
I know.
a
That's
pitch
what I'm saying.
in the MLB against an MLB hitter.
After this year, I think it's potential to say that. I don't think you can say that yet, though.
Like
Okay.
right now, all we have is allegedly he throws 100.
Right.
Allegedly throws 2-3 nasty breaking balls. Like
Right.
we don't know anything yet.
So did Daisuke Matsuzaka.
And
wasn't bad.
Chin-Ming Wang.
but
good
also
year.
like, and that's what to Tommy's point about Daisuke, like. These Japanese guys do get really hyped. Recently, it's been good with Darvish and
Right.
Tanaka. Like they've come over and they've
There's
been
also
really
Kosuke
good.
Fukudome.
Right. So recently, those guys that came over have been really good. So I don't expect any less. I mean, it seems like he's only 23. Where there's smoke, there's fire, in my opinion. But I think the Angels still got a really good player. They're not done. I think they're still going to make a couple more moves. We know that Otani came over early, so they didn't have to spend that much money to get him. So they still have a lot of money to sign a Mike Moustakas or an Eric Hosmer if they wanted to. So there's still a lot of moving parts, but I mean, LA's clearly going for it with Houston still being the king of that division, though.
And then you had the 2 pitching moves in the Central. Morrow to the Cubs, Gregerson to the Cardinals. What do you think of those?
Gregerson, I'm on. I mean, he's just been consistently good.
They paid him a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the going rate for relievers now. I mean, I mean, the money for relievers, the way bullpens are used, like that has just skyrocketed. And Morrow, as much as I hate to say it, I love the Morrow pickup for the Cubs because he's been really good for the past 3 years. And I mean, if he closes, great. If he's a setup man, still great. I mean, either way, that's a huge get for them, especially with Wade Davis leaving.
Is he for sure gone?
Yeah, I mean, he's not for sure gone, but he's a free agent.
And now that they signed,
I don't imagine they'll spend the money to.
no, not that they got
keep
Morrow.
Who do you think the closer is going to be then?
Morrow, probably.
Edwards or Morrow?
It'll be Morrow.
I think it'll be Morrow with Edwards the primary setup because Morrow does have some closing experience.
Edwards has he doesn't really have much, but
Three-
it'll be interesting.
But I think the Cubs aren't done. I think they want to make a trade for someone to. I think they still want to make a trade for someone. There's a lot of relievers out there, and there's still like Addison Reed's still free agent. He has closing experience too. So
Yeah, it's rare to see a team that's a World Series contender, and they're gonna have. This is gonna be their third straight year with a different closer. It's gonna be their fourth closer in 3 years because they started 2016. Who was closing for him? It was
Rondon.
Hector Rondon, then Chapman, then Davis
Rondon,
last year.
who's also still on the roster.
Yeah, and then Brandon
Rendon's
Morrow.
a free agent though too.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he's restricted.
They're leaving. Uhar's leaving, Morrow's leaving, Rendon's leaving, and one more. I don't remember. I think there's a fourth one.
And that kind of leads into Tommy's
Stroke,
final
though.
thought because they're going to be selling relievers, frees up money, which means
Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper. So, obviously, I was this is kind of prefacing Ori a little bit because he's talking Giancarlo, but my favorite thing that's come out of all of this is in an interview with Jesse Rogers of ESPN, Mr. Theo Epstein, the GOAT that he is, he said, he was asked if there was any traction for a deal between the Marlins and Cubs for Giancarlo. Theo answered, "There wasn't much interaction given the makeup of our roster, our future payroll commitments, and some plans that we have. Great player, great opportunity, but not necessarily the one for us this time." Jake, who do you think those plans are?
I think it's their own players who they're
Oh.
going to have to extend.
They
when
do
they
have to do
cost
that
a
as
lot
well.
of money.
they're going to
But
get rid of one of
Have
them.
you ever heard of one of my good friend, Bryce Harper, who happens to be best friends with Chris Bryant, who happens to have a dog named Wrigley?
I may have.
He's
heard
coming
these
to the
points.
Cubs.
These
He's coming
points
to the
may
Cubs.
have been made before.
Yeah, they
in
have.
previous
I can tell you that.
conversations.
But I think it's official. He's on the Cubs.
I don't think it's a.
He's on the
Yeah, he's not on the Cubs.
He's on the
yet.
Cubs.
Unless the Nationals hire Joe Girardi and they make like a run at the World Series this year. Yeah, Bryce Harper's leaving Washington, no question. I think it's between Chicago or LA. I don't think he wants to go to the American League anymore because he won't even be the best slugger in the AL when the two best sluggers are now on the same
He
team.
definitely wouldn't want to go to the AL East because
It's gonna be ridiculous.
Every
Low-key
response to that initial Jesse Rogers tweet was a Bryce Harper gif or a Bryce Harper edit with a Cubs uniform on. It's official.
If Bryce Harper goes to the Cubs, I mean, how many Cubs Yankees
Look at
World
that
Series
lineup.
can we see?
Look at that. I mean, obviously, you'd have to assume that some people would be gone, so you can't necessarily totally project it. But just a core four of Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, Bryce Harper, Wilson Contreras.
I think if you're
That
assuming
is stupid.
if you're assuming Bryce Harper's on the Cubs, Addison Russell and Javi Baez are gone.
I think we'd keep one of them. I think I don't think that either of them have had good enough numbers that they're going to get a huge deal where we can't.
I
sign
think
them
they'll
both.
get rid of Baez because Russell has more potential.
I'd be okay with trading Javi. As much as I love Javi, he's one of my favorite players in the
They
Cubs.
should get rid of
Schwarber's
Schwarber
also
too.
gone.
Schwarber,
in that
yeah.
scenario.
I'm okay with that.
Possibly Ian Happ even.
I think we'll keep Happ. I think he likes Chicago a lot. I think he kind of has that.
Well, he's also got a ton of team control, but still.
Yeah, he does, and we also have Almora still too. So I mean, like that's a starting lineup. You think of that, considering we'll say Javi's gone, we'll say Schwarber's gone. We have
It's a lot.
Happ,
A lot of money in right
Happ,
field. already,
Almora. Hayward will not be there if we get Bryce.
You think they just cut him?
There's gonna be a way that Theo's gonna.
He's not gonna opt
He's gonna
out.
pull some wizardry and find a way to get Hayward off the team.
They would trade him. and
Yeah,
then-
Hayward's gonna be gone in some.
Who's going to take
situation.
that contract?
The Giants have already showed interest. There's been teams that want Hayward.
The Yankees. We don't need five
For-
right fielders.
Hold on, think of this though. So that's
This made me
starting.
so mad.
That's
The
starting
Cardinals
nine.
came back.
We've got Happ, Almora, Bryce Harper, Chris Bryant. I'll say we keep Russell, get rid of Javi.
Okay.
You could either start a guy like, maybe not necessarily. I guess if you want to
You
start
could
somebody
pick
else
someone
in
off
left.
the street in that
Yeah,
scenario.
exactly.
You
Throw,
could
throw
play
somebody in at second. Rizzo at first, and then
Willie
my
behind
boy
him.
Willie catching. That's a stupid good lineup.
You want to hear a stupid good lineup that's real?
Imagine. I don't want to talk about.
I don't want to talk about this either. I can't go.
I-
can't
I'm
do
just gonna
this right
abstain
now.
myself.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to
I
because
can't
the
do
2
it.
through
Gross
4
team.
hitters for the Yankees now are Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Gary Sanchez, and Didi Gregorius. because
not
the
bad.
Yankees got Giancarlo. I'm sorry, Jake. I know it turned out the complete opposite. I did not expect Stanton to come to the Yankees. I had no idea. I really
So
didn't.
gross.
It's incredible.
It's so Yankees. This is the
It's
Yankees I
so
grew up hating.
Yankees. They're like
This
all
is the
like
Yankees
the
I
evil,
grew up hating.
The evil
Yep.
empire is back is the thing. Like
I mean, the last time the Yankees really splashed cash on like a really good free agent was when they got Teixeira and Burnett and Sabathia in 08, and they won
and
the
that's
World
the
Series.
thing. They signed a free agent. There wasn't. They didn't send anyone like okay. They signed Starlin, but you assume Gleyber Torres is just gonna slide in there.
Oh, Starlin's gonna be so awesome, Miami.
He's gonna be solid.
They're
I
trying to
think-
get rid of him already.
Oh, that's
They already put him
that's
back in the
sad.
block. But the thing is,
That's who's gonna be our second baseman. We're getting Starlin.
Starlin back.
Oh, I'm so in on that.
I could see that. Yeah,
I would
Starlin
love that. That'd make me
reunion.
so happy.
Starlin
I,
going back
I
to the
miss
Cubs.
Starlin.
But yeah,
the Marlins ownership group is terrible.
it's called
Jeter-
Jeter's
Jeter's an inside
stinks.
agent.
He stinks at
Jeter's
his
an
job.
inside
He's-
agent.
he's
still
an
working
inside
for the,
agent,
He's
yeah.
on the Yankees payroll.
You know what's
still.
gonna happen?
And he went there strictly to
You know
trade
what's
for
gonna
all of
happen?
the
Jeter's
Yankees.
not gonna last 3 years, and then he's gonna go back to the Yankees as an advisor or something.
Yeah,
That'd be
it's
cool.
gonna be insane.
But I think
How'd they
now,
let this happen?
I think now the Yankees should be the favorites to win the AL, even better than Houston. I think with Stanton,
probably.
and if Stanton and Judge have similar numbers to what they had last year,
That's so many home runs.
and Sanchez is
They had
home runs,
111 on their own.
and Sanchez is 33, and Didi's 25, and Brett
disgusting.
Gardner hits a decent amount of home runs, and you could have Gleyber Torres come up, and he could hit some dingers, plus a solid rotation of Severino
gross,
and
that's gross,
Sabathia
that's
and
gross,
Tanaka.
that's
The Yankees are
gross.
going to
If
be.
you re-sign Sabathia.
The Yankees should cruise through the AL East, like win it by 15
This is a
games,
stinky team.
and then they'll play Houston in the ALCS. And
I
they
still
should
think
beat 'em.
I still think Houston is a better managed team and a better overall team. I think
don't
they're
know.
better. I think
Yes,
I think overall
potentially.
in the terms of well-rounded and
They're very well rounded.
as a like
They still have some
complete
star power.
as a complete product. The Yankees obviously win in star power,
Yeah,
but
what-
I think Houston overall is a better product.
yeah, and I think either way, if they play again in the LCS, it'll be an amazing series.
Right.
Stanton
Or
and
the Angels.
Judge and Altuve. Oh, I'm so excited! I cannot wait for Yankee baseball.
ALCS is either going to be Springer and Correa and Altuve hitting homers into the 20th inning against Stanton, Judge, and Sanchez, or Otani, Trout, and Pujols hitting homers against Stanton, Judge, and Sanchez in
Yeah,
the 20th inning.
Yankees should make the ALCS no problem. I just can't wait. Opening day against the Blue Jays, Stroman gives up back-to-back homers against Judge and Stanton in the first. inning.
Here's something I just want
Stroman.
want
Where's
to
Stroman
say
going?
about.
He's still in Toronto.
He's in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
He's saying opening day because they're
Okay,
playing
fair.
Blue Jays. The Indians are sitting back and like watching everyone like sleep on them again, and then they're just gonna come out. Like I think the Indians, they already have a chip on their shoulder from losing to the Yankees, and now everyone's burying them right now. The Indians are still a really good team.
They're still very good.
Indians
They're
are
still
solid,
a really
but
good team, and they're gonna bring Santana back, I think, and
so-
maybe even Bruce.
I'm sorry, but the Yankees can beat you with the long ball. That's
But
it
the thing
now.
is, okay, but baseball isn't a game like it's not like basketball or football where you can objectively say this team is better than this team and that's why they'll win.
Yeah.
Because baseball's just crazy like that.
yeah.
And like I mean,
I
you
wouldn't-
can't tell me you don't like the Indians with Kluber and Salazar and
I like-
Carrasco
I like
against
the
that
Indians.
I
lineup
wouldn't
still.
rule out an Indians Cubs rematch.
Neither would I.
But every
I think that'd be really cool. Actually,
every pitcher that's going to pitch against that Yankees lineup is going to be terrified.
you could have said that against like the opening day Cubs last year though too. Honestly,
Yeah, but
and that
There's always a
The
team
Cubs
like
don't
that
have
that you can
guys
say
going
that.
back to back who can hit 60 home runs in a season.
But there's always the team like that where you know, like, oh, this lineup's terrifying. Like last year, it was the Indians when they got Edwin Encarnacion, and
Yeah.
they had the protection for Lindor, and then Ramirez was an MVP candidate, and I mean, then it was the Dodgers for a time. There's always water always finds its level.
True.
Like there's always it always evens out.
Yeah, wild till we see Stanton on the Yankees, Otani on the Angels. Final thought.
I would love Otani to strike out Judge like 4 times in a game. That would be hilarious.
He'll do that at least once. I could see that happening once. Before I go to my last final thought with regards to football, halftime in Evanston. Northwestern's up 55-8 against Chicago State. It is the largest D1 deficit this season. They're down by 47. And Chicago State is now trending on Twitter with
Love to see
8 points and 15 turnovers.
Good for them.
Really, that's horrible.
tough
But I'm going to go to football now because
Let's walk on to Chicago State's team.
Let's do it.
the 2017 NFL season is still cursed
mean.
because Carson Wentz just got injured.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for Eagles fans. I feel terrible for them.
Who's going to be their quarterback?
It's going to be Nick Foles. Nick Foles coming
That's
back.
gross.
I like that. I like the return.
Do we see a Giants Super Bowl 25 type deal? Their backup wins it all for them. I don't think we do.
No
but
way.
What a
Who wins the NFC now?
Green Bay. Honestly, I hate to say it, but
Green Bay might do it.
I hate to say it.
They probably will. They're in a
Rodgers is about to come back, and it's like it's gonna be so gross.
I think I still think Carolina has
Really?
a shot. I think
Carolina.
Seattle
Good.
maybe.
Give me the Saints. Give me Justin Hardy. Give
I
Justin
think-
Hardy.
I actually do
I
like
think
that.
Nola could make
I
it.
forgot
yeah.
about them.
New Orleans is pretty good.
But God, to beat
Even Atlanta.
Except they did lose Kamara and all those guys on Thursday.
Kamara's out too now?
He's in concussion
Oh,
protocol.
you've got to be kidding me! I didn't even realize.
But
that.
I mean, to that point, New Orleans is making the playoffs, so you expect him to be back. For
yeah,
the
the,
playoffs,
the
I
NFC
guess.
South.
I
is
hope
really
New
good.
Orleans wins.
God, I mean, but for the
I would
Eagles,
like Drew Brees to get another one because he's probably
Yeah.
going to leave New Orleans this year.
maybe.
He's a free agent.
We'll see. He might. I think he ends his career there.
I think so too.
But man, for the Eagles to beat the Rams 45-36 and then to find out just 12
Oh, I
hours
forgot about
later,
the Rams too.
Carson Wentz
Rams are also really
tore his ACL. God, that
was gross.
That stinks. I feel so bad for him. You
Poor
know,
Carson Wentz.
Poor-
He's
yeah,
having
I
an
know.
amazing
He
season.
was going to be the MVP.
Yeah.
And now he's out to add on to the super mega all-star injury team for the 2017 NFL season.
for real.
It doesn't end. I mean, you had Wentz, you have Rodgers, you have J.J. Watt, the whole Texans defense really. Deshaun Watson in there, Dalvin Cook. There's a bunch of people. It really sucks.
We just
Yeah,
went
the
through there
Vikings.
though. The NFC is like really wide open, actually. Like,
Yeah.
But that's the thing. The NFC's always been very wide open.
Yeah.
And since 2003,
I feel like Dallas is going to find a way to snake back into it now.
no.
They win the last game of the season when Zeke's back and
If Zeke is
sneak
back.
in.
Yeah.
He's back week 16.
But remember, since 2003, you know who are the three quarterbacks? Only twice since 2003 has the AFC been won by a quarterback not named Brady, Roethlisberger, or Peyton Manning.
You mean
Rich Gannon
you mean the
and
AFC?
Joe.
You mean the AFC?
That's what I meant. I said
Oh.
I said the AFC. Yeah.
thought you said
Since
AFC.
2003, Brady, Manning, and Roethlisberger have won pretty much every single AFC
for
title,
Flacco, the
except for
one year.
Flacco and Rich Gannon. Since Brady made his first Super Bowl, NFC, it's been like
Absurd.
That is.
it's been like a different team every year in the NFC for the most part. You had Atlanta, you had Carolina, you had Seattle, Arizona got one, San Francisco got one. You know, Rams had their in the beginning. The Panthers made a few. Green Bay got a couple. Dallas hasn't even made one. So the NFC's
It's still Tom Brady.
it's random.
Tom Brady's league.
the Bears
still.
one year.
The Bears won. I mean, yeah.
Sexy, baby.
The Saints. It's wide open. NFC's always this wide open. AFC, on the other hand, we know it's going to be Big Ben versus Tom Brady in the
And
championship.
the thing is, like, there's always like that one team in the AFC, like, that you think, like last year was the Raiders, and then Carr got hurt, and this year was the Chiefs until they started being stinky, and then, like, there's always a team or two that you think might do it, and then the Steelers and Patriots just go on ridiculous
I mean,
streaks.
I'd say the third best team in the AFC right now is Jacksonville, and they're not.
Forgot about
I'd like
that.
that. I'd like
Forgot
that.
about
but they're
that.
not even close to.
They do have the best defense.
They're pretty
in the league,
good.
though.
They have a really good
Best
defense.
in the league.
if they play
And-
Jalen Ramsey's the best corner in the league.
and
right now.
arguably the top 3 running back in the league.
yeah,
3,
Leonard
5.
Leonard Fournette's top three.
I think
Up
I'd only
there.
I'd put Zeke ahead of him. I'd put. Who else
Is
is
it-
there? Yeah, I mean,
it's-
there's not.
it's
There's no
tough.
one that really jumps into my mind.
There's too many like system. Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell's the best
correct.
back in the league.
Yeah.
Better than Zeke.
Easy.
Le'Veon, Zeke. I'd put Shady McCoy still ahead of.
Yeah, I
Fournette.
think so.
I think Fournette's top 5 still.
Yeah, top 5. But as of right now, the Jags, if they won their wild card weekend game, they would play New England and Foxborough in the divisional round, and Brady would probably stomp over them, knowing the man.
TB12 get number 6.
He would try and get number 6. I still think the Steelers are the favorite as of right now. Before this,
That Pats Steelers AFC Championship is going to be really good.
yeah, and Steelers
Obviously-
Pats.
obviously
they play
take
this,
the over in that
They
game.
play this Sunday, so they're playing this Sunday. Steelers Pats going to be a AFC
true.
Championship preview. We'll see who takes that one. But that's going to do it here for this edition of Illini Drive. For Tommy, for Jade, for Jake, for Will, I'm Ori Benatar. Make sure to tune in for another edition tomorrow right here on WPGU 107.1.